In the headlines, the Dalis and Boitica residents continue to be challenged by the absence of proper access to their communities. After living in Dominica since 1952, Father Franklin Coffey has been told to apply for Dominican citizenship. And young people from Soufriere graduate with training for jobs in the hotel industry. I'm Andrea Louis with the Channel 5 News. Details after this. We begin in the Boitica and Dalis area, where people continue to exercise patience as work continues to improve access to and from the communities. A Channel 5 News team visited the project site on Thursday. Idona John Baptist has more.
Caribbean Concrete Limited is contracted to the $1.2 million project to construct a temporary bridge over the Boitica Gorge linking Boitica to Dalis. Public Works Minister Ian Peanut says they expect the project to be completed by December. However, the contractor is facing challenges which will likely push the completion date further.
Shipping containers are being stacked on top of each other as a foundation to facilitate the installation of a Bailey bridge over the gorge.
On a daily basis, we have to deal with floodwaters, falling rocks, and after we excavate something, we have material falling back into the excavation. So it means we have to do one work 3 times. Clear the excavation, next morning we come with material back in the trench again, clear it. Same work done 3 times. So it appears to some people that we haven't done anything. But basically what we're going through there now, we're setting the containers up in step formation so that we can prepare an abutment to prepare for the Bailey Bridge.
Esprit says he cannot give a deadline by which that project will be completed because the weather is not always favorable.
We might have a sunny day, sometimes a sunny day, but a sunny day here in the gorge in Boitica doesn't mean it's a sunny day up in the mountain heights. I have to be doing security check for my guys and time the weather to tell them when to move out of the gorge, so I cannot give you a time frame. Sometimes I speak to you now and the next 15 minutes we have to run out of the gorge. It's that dangerous. Risky business going on here now.
Okay, so how long have you been on this project, Caribbean Concrete Limited?
Basically about 2 months. About 2 months. We were on the zip line, relocating the zip line, and then the excavation of the rock took a little time. But the rock was harder than we expected. And then when we came to, we had to go below water level now, below the bed of the river. And that's where we get difficulty. Below the riverbed for the foundation of the abutment, the container abutment.
All right. So how many men are we talking about that's working here?
We have 4, 5, 6 men. So far, I'm confident this is good, this is working, it will work.
Well, the area has really transformed from the last time we were here in September, but there's still a lot more work to be done to construct a main road to link La Plaine to the communities of Boitica and Dalis. I'm here with Leroy Williams. He's the supervisor of a zip line that was set up by government some 2 months ago to transport items back and forth.
Well, this zip line service is to transport the passengers. The bus will drop them right there, and after they'll pass through on the zip line. So I'm in charge to put their baggages and make them show them how to move across. But you have to pull back the box through, and they come on board, and then you let them go. All shopping from town is through the zip line. All shopping for the shops. What again? Bread is coming from the zip line from town.
And that happens every day, which is why you're here.
Every day. We are here from 6 to 6.
So I'm going to experience what the people of Boitica and Dalis have been going through. I'm going to take a ride on the zip line.
Go. Really? Go brave. Put your passport, sir. Open your eyes. Open your Chico's eyes. Chico's eyes.
Meantime, driving through the temporary bypass at the Boitica Gorge to get to Boitica and Dalis is troublesome. Only four-wheeled drive vehicles can go through it. Residents say daily activities have become very challenging and frustrating.
So the people are growing a bit anxious. There are people, they have stuff to do in town and they are unable to do it. Bus drivers, are unable to go and earn a living in town. We have students in the secondary schools who are being housed at the homes of other people. Some people that they might not even know. And so, the frustration is building. And especially for the Christmas, people would have at least hoped that, we would have been able to go to town and, be able to buy our stuff and, do what we have to do.
Private housing projects are at a standstill since transporting material is a task. And large-scale farmers like Ken Joseph, who sell for export and to vendors at the Roseau Market, have lost a lot of revenue.
I also am involved in the purchase of local produce from the farmers from that area. And then from Erica Tem, I have not been able to purchase the quantity because of that hindrance, the gorge. Yeah, and you cannot buy volume because it is very difficult to transport it across. And a lot of them farmers there, even myself, I suffered a lot because I could not harvest some of the crops, like the pears, the avocados, and so on.
Okay. On to the Dominican National Council of Women, whose PRO has responded to statements made by the Acting Minister for Education, Kelva Daru. On Wednesday, Daru expressed dissatisfaction that he had not heard the DNCW extend a congratulatory message on the election of Baroness Patricia Scotland to the post of Secretary General of the Commonwealth. Minister Daru made the comments on state-owned DBS Radio.
I would have believed by this time the Dominican National Council of Women would have made a statement in support of a Dominican woman reaching the highest position as a Secretary General of the Commonwealth. But we have yet to hear the DNCW make any statement. So I'm very concerned of that, because we recall that on several occasions the DNCW made statements in support of women and the achievements of women when women have been abused and so forth. But here it is that you have a Dominican woman born in St. Joseph having achieved the position of Secretary General of the Commonwealth, and I have yet to hear the Dominican National Council of Women make a statement in support of a prominent Dominican woman. So it leads me to question what really is the agenda of the Dominican National Council of Women. And of course, I'm hoping that when they hear this news clip, that they'll respond to it, because really and truly, we have to support what is ours.
However, Public Relations Officer of the Council of Women says this statement by the minister is not true.
We want to state categorically that this statement is incorrect. And right here on mapping, the statement was made in congratulating Mistress Baroness Scotland. And we went further to say that we are happy that she has taken up the issue of domestic violence, which as a national women's organization we are very much interested in.
Dublin Prince called on the minister to support the council in its work to uplift and encourage women in society.
So therefore, we are saying that the minister statement is incorrect, and we'll actually call on him in his position as minister to support us in our cause in empowering women, and also in support in our cause at ensuring that the plight of women are taken seriously by a national women's organization. It is unfortunate that he has targeted a national women's organization, which actually represent most women in Dominica, including the women at the level of parliament and generally women in Dominica.
Baroness Patricia Scotland will take up her post as Secretary General of the Commonwealth on 1st April 2016. In more headline stories, one Roman Catholic priest on Ireland has expressed concern and disappointment in Dominica's immigration system. Father Franklin Coffey, who has been living in Dominica since 1952, was told recently that he has to apply for Dominican citizenship. This occurred when Coffey went to have his Dominican passport renewed on Monday.
Immigration officer took my passport and ran it through the machine, and he said, well, before we can proceed, I need to apply for citizenship. I have applied, I've placed, I'm waiting. I was told in the office, we will call you. And after 60 years, 64 years, I have to apply for Dominican citizenship. I think something is not right somewhere. So I think it's an embarrassment, as somebody said, when he wrote Oliver Twist, he said that the law is an ass. And I think, we need to look at that law again.
Cuffy, who is also the official chaplain of the Dominica Cadet Corps, is concerned with the implications this may have for his work performed in Dominica over the past few decades.
Well, my concern is, I've been a marriage officer for 32 years. So I'm concerned, does that mean that all the marriage I performed during that time are illegal? I can imagine a good lawyer, if he wants a divorce for his client, to say, well, the person who officiated, in spite of the fact that I may have a license, but, if at that time I wasn't recognized, or if I'm applying for citizenship, now today it means that all that time I wasn't recognized as a citizen. Those who are buried, they are dead already. I know that's an illegal issue as well, or the baptisms that I have been involved in.
Cuffy was born in Aruba and moved to Dominica at the age of 2. He currently holds 5 expired Dominican passports. His current passport expires in April 2016. A group of young people in the Soufriere constituency is now skilled and ready for employment in the tourism industry.
The students of Scottshead, Soufriere, Gallia and Point Michel who received training in culinary arts are now better positioned to secure gainful employment. They could find employment in hotels across the country but are well positioned to work in a number of hotels earmarked for that constituency, such as the Petit Colibri facility and other projects. The Minister for Trade, Energy and Employment urged graduates to go out there and be the best they can be. Mr. Douglas said their training was a critical part of continued efforts by government to ensure that tourism makes a greater contribution in generating foreign exchange. This certification, which graduates received from the Dominica State College on Wednesday, makes them marketable not only in Dominica but worldwide.
The Dominica State College and the government of Dominica will be giving our endorsement to your training today, saying that you are prepared for any challenge anywhere around the world today, in bartending, in cooking, in wait staffing, in housekeeping, in front desk management, in customer service. And I was happy when the president of the Dominica State College emphasized and zeroed in on customer service. If we want to stand out in the world, if we want to become competitive, if we want to shine, if we want to compete with more mature markets like St. Martin and St. Lucia and Guadeloupe and these places and Anguilla, what will distinguish us as the destination of choice is the service that we give to our guests.
Mr. Douglas said government would continue to collaborate with the Dominica State College and invest in the students' continued development.
Coming up on the Channel 5 News, a visit to Dominica on Friday by Baroness Patricia Scotland. Welcome back. Commonwealth Secretary General Designate Baroness Patricia Scotland is expected in Dominica on Friday.
Upon her arrival at Douglas Charles Airport, the Baroness is expected to hold a news conference where she will field questions from local reporters. On Monday, Baroness Scotland will attend a ceremony in Vacaz where the primary school will be named after her. A welcome reception will be held for her at the State House on Monday evening. Her visit this weekend is much anticipated as it comes on the heels of her recent election to the post of Commonwealth Secretary General in Malta. She will be the first female Secretary General of the Commonwealth of Nations.
An advocate for the elderly is calling for greater respect of the aging population as the country observed Human Rights Day on Thursday. Human Rights Day is recognized on 10th December and commemorates the day on which the United Nations adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. President of the Dominica Council on Aging says the rights of the elderly have to be given greater attention by all stakeholders.
The problem of elder abuse is a human rights issue because it affects the person. And there are basic human rights that each person is entitled to. the right to freedom of speech, the right to be able to leave without being abused by anyone, and so on. So abuse definitely affects the rights of the person, because it puts them at a dependent, in a dependent position. They become very fearful when they're abused, and it makes them, it really robs them of their dignity, and so it is definitely infringing upon their rights.
TUSES says governments across the Caribbean are expected to become more involved in creating a better environment for the elderly. This as Dominica recently concluded a 2-day conference on aging, elder abuse, and the rights of older persons.
We wanted to place on the table and to ensure that persons became sensitive and aware of the issues of the elderly, which include things like abuse, financial difficulties, healthcare services, problems with healthcare services, and the different NCDs, that's the non-communicable diseases, and how they affect the elderly, disasters, and how disasters affect the elderly. For the way forward, we need to form a working group, and that is something we will be pursuing in the very near future, and set up some action plan. So that's the way forward.
This year's theme for Human Rights Day is Our Rights, Our Freedom, Always. The 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence campaign has come to an end. Thursday, 10th December is observed as Human Rights Day and is the culmination of the 16 Days of Activism, which had started on 25th November. The 16 Days of Activism campaign is used to galvanize action to end violence against women and girls worldwide. The Dominica National Council of Women is urging Dominicans to be more active in reducing all forms of gender-based violence.
It brings to mind the whole issue of your human rights, your right to live a life free from violence, your right to be alive, because what we are seeing is that some persons' lives are cut short for very stupid reasons. And it is a time that we reflect on the respect for basic human rights, which has been enshrined by our own Constitution and also by the United Nations, which declared December 10th as World Human Rights Day.
Dublin Prince says the rights of all human beings must be respected at all times.
So we are calling on the respect for the human rights of persons who are differently abled. We are calling for the respect for the human rights for older persons. We are calling for the respect of human rights of women, men, the girl child, because we have been hearing the increase in the domestic violence and incest among young children, both boys and girls, and it is a time that we have to be able in this season to be able to unite, to bring people to the fore, to ensure that the human rights are respected at all times. And the whole issue of humanity is always at the fore. See the person as a person and not something that can be used or that can be taken advantage of. So it is our plea that we allow peace to reign, especially during the season of Christmas. Allow peace to reign, allow people to live in peace without violence, and together as a nation we can move forward.
This year's Human Rights Day is devoted to the launching of a year-long campaign for the 50th anniversary of the 2 international covenants on human rights. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas for people from Paradise Valley affected by Tropical Storm Erica.
On Wednesday, 45 people received household items from the MRI6 group from St. Vincent. In November, the group donated almost $15,000 to the Baffin State Disaster Committee after fundraising activities in St. Vincent.
We were given a task to choose at least 30 plus residents, but we have on our list 57. So what we did, we tried to see how we could stretch that money that was given, that funding. So we gave about 45 residents in terms of fridges, stoves, home appliances. We gave bathroom sets, we gave bath towels, we gave plate drainers, everything to do with household items.
Walsh says a lot of the people are still displaced in one way or another after the storm.
There's a family that she lost her husband and her brother-in-law, and she too, well, they have been living in the other side of Baffin State, and also a few others that have been renting other places. Government have been assisting them because they cannot move back to the area because of the damage that was done to their homes. But all in all, we're still seeing, people trying and other organizations trying to come on board to assist them.
She says the residents are trying to cope with the hand they were dealt with since some lost all their belongings. The committee's PRO is calling on other organizations to show support for the Baffin State residents affected by the storm to bring some Christmas cheer.
Thank you for staying with us. Kenny Williams is up next with your sports highlights.
Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. First up in cricket, it was a bad day for the West Indies when they were hammered by Australia on the opening day of the first test. Australia registered one of the highest scores on the opening day of a test with a mammoth 438 for 3 wickets in 89 overs. Adam Vogts, 174, and Sean Marsh, 139 not out, dominated the West Indies bowling attack with an unbroken partnership of 317. At one point, West Indies had Australia 121 for 3. However, the Windies bowlers struggled to take any more wickets for the day. Playing the second test, Jamel Warrican picked up 2 for 111 and Shannon Gabriel 1 for 59. Still in test cricket, New Zealand reached 409 for 8 on the first day of the test against Sri Lanka. Martin Guptill scored 156, Kane Williamson 88 and Brendan McCallum 75. And in regional 4-day cricket, round 5 of the WICB regional tournament will begin Friday as teams face off for the win. In St. Lucia, it will be Windward's Volcanoes against Trinidad and Tobago Red Force. In Barbados, Leeward Islands Hurricanes versus Barbados. And at Sabina Park in Jamaica, Jamaica Scorpions will battle Guyana Jaguars. The point standing after round 4, Guyana 70, Jamaica 50, Barbados 44, Trinidad and Tobago 30, Windward's Volcanoes 23, and Leeward Islands Hurricanes 10. Moving on to football now. There were wins for Mahosoka Strikers and Trafalgar Football Club in Wednesday's version of the DFA Division 1 League. Mahosoka Strikers edged out Wacky Rollers 1-0 at the Jubilant playing field, with Jaren Sebastian scoring the goal differentiator for Strikers. Meantime, at the Poirier playing field, Trafalgar FC defeated Wayne George Academy 2-1 in the first match. Karim Magloire and Travis Charles scored for Trafalgar, with Chio Banis scoring for Wayne George Academy. In the second match, Police SC and ACS Tarish United played to a 1-1 draw. Marlon Hilaire scored for Police, with Raheem Laurent scoring the equalizer for Tarish. Meantime, in Division 1 football carded for Friday.
The Glanville Renegades will take on Nemesis United at the Benjamin Park from 5 p.m, while in a doubleheader at the Newtown playing field, RIC Kensborough takes on Police Sports Club from 5 p.m, to be followed by Cupchis Barbershop Baffin State versus Element Agencies LA Stars at 7 p.m.
In secondary schools football, the Secondary Schools Football Championships under 20 finals will kick off Friday, with defending champions Goodwill Secondary and former champions Dominica State College going head-to-head at Windsor Park. And in football from the region, newly elected president for the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association, David Williams, calls on CARICOM leaders and Football Federation presidents to join in the fight of rescuing football in the Caribbean. He says football in the region has great potential if harnessed properly, and together we can be a formidable force.
The political strength in Trinidad and Tobago football right now, in Caribbean football and world football, because we command that, 29 votes, in world football. That's a significant block. How we use those votes to strengthen the game and secure the game for life is another story. And it's very important for us to understand that if we don't try to professionalize the game, have a Caribbean professional league, because we are very small nations compared to world football, the only thing that can move Caribbean football forward is a Caribbean professional league. The only thing that's going to allow our players to move to bigger leagues in the world and earn a proper living from the game is a Caribbean Professional League.
Williams reminds Caribbean football leaders that we compete against stronger nations who have a greater population. However, our combined efforts may provide us with better opportunities.
One has to remember that we're competing against the likes of the USA, Mexico, Canada, Guatemala, and all these bigger nations in Central America who have numbers. We don't have the numbers of a Mexico or USA, but we have the talent. And unless we do harness that talent and address it in a meaningful way, we are doomed for failure.
Meantime, two local footballers, Andres Joseph and Fitz Jolly, were selected by the Caribbean Football Union late November to participate in the Copa Rayados International Tournament in Texas. The footballers returned to Dominica recently after recording good performance.
Both Dominican players did make it to the squad. I know Andreas Joseph played the entire game, 90 minutes of the game, and Chris Jolly came at the second half. And they did win the game, whether it's on penalties. The CFU representative team won the game on penalties for free. The Dominica Football Association will send another 2 representatives to the MLS tryout. So we are doing what we have to do in terms of getting the opportunities for young players to excel.
And finally, the Dominica Grammar School and Cocoa Town Cafe PSS will clash for the finals of the Under-16 Secondary Schools Netball Championships at Grammar School grounds on Friday. Following them will be the Under-20 teams of the same schools battling for the win. These matches are expected to begin from 3 and 4 respectively. That's all the time we have for sports. I am Kenny Williams. Join us again next time.
We should be looking out for more scattered showers. More in your weather report next.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I will be your presenter for this evening, Farah Rock Korea. The high pressure system remained the dominant feature across the region, producing a dry and stable atmosphere, resulting in generally fair skies for the earlier part of today, with an increase in cloudiness by afternoon. We take a look now at some earlier visible satellite imagery, and what it showed is an increase in low-level clouds over Dominica and also the islands to the south. Earlier radar imagery indicated some spotty shower activity across the northeast portion of Dominica and the islands to the south. The weather tonight is expected to be fair to partly cloudy with a few scattered showers. Similar conditions are expected for tomorrow. The marine conditions will be moderate and waves are expected to be up to 7 feet. For the next 3 days, fair to partly cloudy skies with a few scattered showers and maximum temperatures of up to 30 degrees Celsius can be expected. A high pressure system will remain the dominant feature tomorrow, resulting in occasional cloudy skies with a few scattered showers for the rest of the Caribbean. The international city forecast some thunderstorm activity expected in Miami, some partly cloudy to cloudy skies with some showers expected in New York, London and Beijing, and some beautiful clear skies expected in Caracas. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 6:22 a.m. and sunset at 5:36 p.m. For more information, you could always visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Join us tomorrow evening for our next weather broadcast. Thank you.
The news, the headlines again. Boitica and Daly's residents continue to be challenged by the absence of proper access to their communities. After living in Dominica since 1952, Father Franklin Cuffey has been told to apply for Dominican citizenship. And young people from Soufriere graduate with training for jobs in the hotel industry. Email us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube page. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Andrea Lee. Thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.